talking about individuals' bodies. You know, we're not talking about something that's, you know, political or racism or police brutality and things of that nature. We're talking about like people's bodies and well-beings. You know, so I don't feel like, for me personally, that I should get involved in what other people should do for their bodies and their livelihoods.
NBA players' right to not subject themselves to getting vaccinated is now taking center stage. Now, 90% of the NBA is vaccinated, but there are several star players such as Brooklyn Nets Kyrie Irving and the Washington Wizards Bradley Beal. They're taking this moment to shine as anti-vaxxers. Now, over in the WNBA, 99.9% of the players are fully vaccinated since June. This is the highest vaccination rate of any major professional sports league in the United States. These women are leading and clearly doing something right. Here with me now is sports and culture writer for The Athletic, Kavitha Davidson. Thank you for joining me tonight. Listen, do we think if LeBron James was subject to any other injury or any other illness that he would pause to do his own research?
No, and I would like to know, whenever someone, not just LeBron, but whenever someone says, I still need to do my own research, I really just at this point want to push back and say, where? What are you Googling? What journals are you looking at? Do you have a PubMed account? Like, where are you doing this research? Because I don't really trust where that comes from, but that's where we are right now, isn't it?
Well, I mean, LeBron is a figure that literally could have picked up the phone and the White House would have sent Fauci to his house, right? That's where he's at in American culture. Yet he said he doesn't think it's his role to say anything about this. What circle is he trying to square here?
Well, and the NBA has had educational programs. They have their chief medical officer, who is a Stanford-educated doctor. He was the Golden State Warriors team doctor. He is also a Black man. So I do think that that matters. It is somebody from the community who understands some of the concerns that a lot of players have. They've had this outreach for months now, and whether or not it's landed, whether or not people are asking the right questions, clearly there's still a skepticism that we're not seeing in their counterpart over the WNBA.
Let's get to the WNBA, because apparently, once again, Black women are leading the way, not only in social justice, but in public health. Why is that?
Well, you know, I said this on a different program earlier today. I think that the women of the WNBA have had to fight simply for the right to play basketball, have had to fight for everything that they have, and they weren't just about to throw it all away because of diffidence over a vaccine. Now, that being said, Emma Baccellieri at Sports Illustrated had a great piece breaking down the process by which the education around the vaccine came about in the WNBA. And I think the slight difference between that and the NBA is that you had real leadership from WNBA players taking this on themselves, and that most of these panels, most of these Zoom outreach presentations that were done with experts, with doctors, were led by players themselves. They were led by the WNBPA and by the union. So there was already a trust built in there, as opposed to it being led by the league. And I think that that's a major difference, that you had major stars in the WNBA leading this charge, whereas now you have players like LeBron, who, while he did, I'm very happy to see, reveal his vaccination status today, also said that he didn't want to get involved in this. And getting involved in this is exactly how the WNBA and their players reached a 99% vaccination rate.
I had the chance to talk to the Atlanta Dream Center, Elizabeth Williams, and she spoke exactly to what you said, the idea of building trust, of recognizing the need for community, of calling people in instead of calling people out. But again, that is how Black women have organized on social justice issues around the country, and other people end up benefiting for it. So what I'm wondering is, what is then the disconnect between the Black women of the WNBA and the men of the NBA? Is it just, it's a cultural thing? Is it a gendered thing?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think that it's, you know, trust is a really hard thing to build. And, you know, frankly, the women of the WNBA have been in a fight together for a couple of years, even the younger set. So I think there is just more solidarity, perhaps, within that union. Every union kind of has the haves and the have-nots, and the NBPA is no different from that. But there is a stark difference between the LeBrons of the world and the sixth men on the rest of the bench, right? And in the WNBA, there just seems to be a lot more unity, a lot more solidarity. But around something like this, Elizabeth Williams will tell you that there were people who were skeptical. But the WNBA, in addition to having this be a player-led movement, also got way out in front of this. They started asking and started educating about the vaccine in November and December, before there was really enough time to have, this misinformation campaign from a certain political side against it. So they were very, very smart about the way that they went about this. And I do think that there is something to be said about the kind of being in the trenches together that the women of the WNBA have experienced.
Yeah, Kavitha, I think you also we stumbled on together something about that makes these two leagues very different. It's how they play and how they actually engage with each other. It's not about building around one star. Even their play on the court is about the team. So clearly that's translated into something good for public health as well. Kavitha Davidson, thank you so much for joining us tonight.